Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a seriously gripping part of Munshi Premchand's classic novel, Gaban. We are going to be focusing on chapters 31 through 38, which is right where the story accelerates into this intense psychological drama. Now, if you're already familiar with the plot, you know our main character, Ramanav, has fled his home out of pure panic, convinced he committed embezzlement. But in these chapters, the narrative actually zooms out. We start seeing the ripple effects of his disappearance. We're going to see how fear corrupts, but more importantly, we're going to witness the incredible strength of truth that rises up to meet it. So I want you to keep a specific question in the back of your mind as we go through this. What actually happens when a person is forced to choose between their own freedom and the lives of innocent people? Because that is the central moral dilemma of this entire segment. We're really going to explore the heavy, heavy cost of self-preservation. When fear takes the driver's seat, how far will someone actually go to save their own skin? And who gets crushed along the way?
Let's kick things off with part 1, A Grieving Widow's Plight.
While Ramanath is off on the run, the world he left behind keeps right on turning. And sadly, it's a world where the innocent and vulnerable are just mercilessly preyed upon. This brings us to the really tragic situation of Ratan, a woman who has just lost her husband. The contrast here perfectly captures the dark side of human opportunism. On one hand, you have Ratan's paralyzing grief. She is completely shattered. She's giving away her worldly possessions, she is uncharacteristically docile, and she's totally blind to the theft happening right under her nose. But on the other side, we have her nephew, Manibhushan. While Ratan is mourning, Manibhushan is operating with cold, calculated greed. He swiftly fires her loyal servant Timul on a completely fake charge of theft, just to get rid of any watchdogs. Then, he immediately starts pushing Ratan to sell her bungalow and move out to a village. He wears a smile the whole time, but he is swiftly usurping her entire estate.
And what's the ultimate prize here? 20,000 rupees. That's how much is sitting in the Allahabad bank, and Manibhushan secretly takes control of it. He completely manipulates Ratan's vulnerability, convincing her that moving to a village and opening a charity school in her late husband's name is, the best path forward. But in reality, he's just clearing the board so he can empty her accounts. It is a heartbreaking look at how grief can instantly turn you into a target.
Which brings us to part 2, a strategic chess move. So we pivot away from Rashatan's paralysis, and we focus on Ramanath's wife, Jalpa. Her father-in-law is bedridden with a severe fever, just rambling in delirium. The men in the house are either useless or completely absent. But Jalpa totally takes charge. The sheer genius of her plan is fascinating. She knows her husband Ramanath has a massive ego when it comes to chess, so she designs the ultimate trap. She decides to publish a highly complex chess puzzle in the famous Calcutta newspaper Prajamitra. She figures if Ramanath is anywhere near Calcutta, there is no way he'll be able to resist solving it. And to make it totally irresistible, she offers a 50-rupee reward for the first correct solution. And guess who steps up to fund this reward? Her friend, the grieving widow Ratan, who helps out immediately. There's this quote from Ratan that really hits hard. She fiercely supports Jalpa's intuition, telling her, "Even if we lose the money, we will know the truth. Those who go to jail for the country cannot be so low as to steal it." This just highlights the profound solidarity, trust, and resilience of the female characters in this story. Even in the middle of her own ruin, Ratan trusts in the core goodness of people and stands shoulder to shoulder with Jalpa. Meanwhile, over in Calcutta, we hit part 3, Caught in Police Webs. So while the women are brilliantly plotting his rescue back home, what is our missing husband actually up to? Well, his newfound confidence, and honestly his greed, swiftly lead to a spectacular downfall. It's almost comical how fast he unravels. Ramanath had been hiding out with a really kind, poor street vendor named David Dean, making a decent living at a tea stall. But he gets a little too comfortable. He decides he wants to go buy tickets for the Manorama Theater. Out on the street, his paranoia just completely takes over. He spots 3 police constables and starts acting incredibly suspicious, ducking his head, trying to hide behind people. Naturally, the police notice. When they stop him, he panics and gives a fake name, Hiralal. Within minutes, his own bizarre, suspicious behavior gets him arrested. Then, we get this absolutely devastating twist. When the police call Allahabad, they discover something shocking. Ramanath never actually embezzled anything. It was literally just a simple accounting error. He ran away for absolutely nothing. But here's step 2, The corrupt police daroga completely hides this innocence from Ramanath. Instead, he uses Ramanath's sheer terror against him. In step 3, the daroga offers Ramanath a fake pardon for his imaginary crime, but only on one condition. Ramanath has to become an approver, a false witness for the state in a major Dakoti or robbery case. The daroga traps a completely innocent man using pure psychological warfare.
And the tragic irony here is just gut-wrenching. Devidan, the poor tea vendor who took Ramanath in, rushes to the police station. He literally empties his life savings, pulling out 50 gold guineas from his waist to try and buy Ramanath's freedom. That is a massive sum of money for a poor man. But the greedy daroga? He refuses. Why? Because the official government reward for netting an approver in this big case will get the daroga 650 rupees plus a guaranteed promotion. Devidan's completely selfless sacrifice is just tossed aside by systemic corruption.
And that pulls us right into our final act, Part 4, the fight for moral truth.
Back in Allahabad, guess what? Jalpa's chess trap actually works, but the truth she uncovers is way more horrifying than she ever imagined. Jalpa's journey just goes into overdrive. She receives a receipt from the newspaper office with Ramanath's actual signature on it. Plus, through a local connection, she learns Ramanath never actually had any criminal charges against him in Allahabad. Empowered by this, she travels all the way to Calcutta with Ramanath's brother, Gopi, armed with a knife given to her by Ratan for protection. She manages to track down Devidan and his wife Jago's house, but when she arrives, she is hit with a crushing reality. Her husband hasn't just been arrested, he has willingly become a false witness for the corrupt police.
Devidan is furious, absolutely livid. He delivers this sharp, emotional rebuke, telling Jalpa, for his own selfish motives, the one who cuts the throats of others, giving him poison is not a sin. Because of Ramanath's cowardly perjury, 15 entirely innocent men are doomed. Some of them are quite literally facing the gallows. They're going to be hanged, all because Ramanath was too afraid to face a trial for a crime he didn't even commit in the first place.
Jalpa's reaction? Instant moral outrage. She doesn't coddle her husband's cowardice for a second. She decides right then and there that she is going to expose Ramanath in court herself. She will step up and save those 15 innocent lives, even if it completely destroys her marriage and brings immense public shame down on her family. She flat out refuses to let her husband live a comfortable lie while other people die for it.
The contrast between husband and wife in this specific moment is just staggering. Look at Ramanath. Because he's a state witness, he is living in a guarded, luxurious bungalow. He's riding around in a 6-car police convoy, eating gourmet food prepared by a Kashmiri cook, and being taken to the theater by officers. His physical luxury is 100% funded by corruption and blood. Now compare that to Jalpa. She's staying in the humble home of poor street vendors, she has risked her physical safety traveling across the country, and she's willing to face total societal ruin for the sake of justice. It is just a masterclass juxtaposition of moral superiority versus physical comfort.
Which brings us full circle back to where we started. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If you had to choose between the freedom and safety of your own spouse and the lives of 15 innocent strangers who are about to hang, what would you do? Would you have the incredible moral fortitude of Jalpa? It is an incredibly tense ethical dilemma. To find out exactly what happens when Jalpa finally marches into that courtroom, I highly recommend diving straight into the original chapters. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and always keep questioning the true cost of fear.